Number 6, the basic nature of human beings is that of virtue. All the religions believe that. Christianity says that human beings are originally of the nature of sin. So we're basically bad, okay, according to Christianity. But we can get our salvation through pleasing God or whatever. How about humanism? Humanism believes in humans, okay? They believe that you become better or you do things of benefit from your own potential. So humanism believes that people can be good and that the good things that people are comes through their own efforts. This is also shared by Buddhism. But in Buddhism we have a deeper understanding of what we mean by what it is to be human. But at our very core, then everyone has perfection. Okay? So this idea of original sin is only found in Christianity. Number 7, the traditional dualism of mind and body must be rejected. And you could equally put body and soul. Any ideas? Humanism. Humanism doesn't believe that we have anything more than our body. Mind and body is the same. Christianity would talk more about body and soul, something which leaves the body after death. And in Buddhism, that would be the same, but of course we have a more detailed way of explaining it. It's not just one layer, but many layers. Number 8, it is immoral to wait for God to act for us. We must act ourselves to stop wars, crimes, and brutality. Humanism. So humanists don't hang around waiting for God to fix the problems of the world. They take action. And really Buddhism has much the same sort of approach. We might wait for the appropriate time to do something, but we certainly don't wait for some supernatural intervention. It's down to us and what we do. It's our actions that count. Religion is that which serves the personal and social needs of a group of people who share the same worldview. I think all of them would agree with that. Number 10, we die, sometimes painfully, sometimes painlessly, sometimes in our sleep. And that is the end of the story for us. Humanism, yes. So Buddhism and Christianity, then it's not the end of the story, okay? But what the rest of the story is depends on your interpretation, okay? Number 11, the universe is self-existing and non-created. Well, Buddhism can fit into this. Humanism may be interested in the sort of questions, maybe not. But certainly Christianity would not agree with that. Because the universe has to be created. Number 12, it may be worth sacrificing immediate personal pleasures for fulfillment in the long term. Yes, any others? Monotheism would go with that as well. Humanists would say, live for today, enjoy yourself. But you may have your good works which you're doing, which maybe you make some personal sacrifices, but you never do something for this lifetime that you wouldn't see the results also in this lifetime if you're a humanist. But in monotheistic religions, in Buddhism, it's worth doing something this lifetime, sacrifices this lifetime, for results which may, in the long term, help you in lifetimes to come. 13. It is wrong to show interest in religions outside your own. Monotheistic religions tend to be a bit like this, to greater or lesser extent. But Buddhism welcomes that you explore. And humanists, I don't think they would be opposed to that. Number 14, we must make the most of our life for ourselves and for the rest of the human race. Maybe all of them. But exactly how you make the most of your life, well, that may be different from religion to religion. So you can see that, I think I've got a slide here with the so it comes out something like this. That's okay for you. So some things which the different traditions have in common, but there are some things which Buddhism has of its own, shares with humanism, shares with monotheism. So it's not that there's nothing supernatural about Buddhism, but the way we approach these supernatural things, maybe it's gentler. It's not an idea just to believe in them, but we work towards the point where we can prove these things for ourselves. So what's the point of broaching the idea of things beyond what the eye can see? Well, there are certain connections which we make in Buddhism which normally science doesn't make. For example, normally for things to affect one another in science, normally they have to be physically in contact with one another in one way or another. So for example, if you start to say a child grows up with a mental problem because of the way the parents treated it when they were young, then some people in science would not accept that. Because they would say, how can the actions of one set of people affect another person's thinking much later in time? They would say you can't make that connection. So things like, for example, psychoanalysis, sometimes they are not accepted by science. Or if you say lots of people meditating on one side of the planet can cause there to be more peace in the world on another side of the planet, scientists would say, well, no, you can't believe in that sort of thing happening. But having said that, Buddhism goes quite well with science, but we also make connections which go beyond what science traditionally can accept. We do think that things affect the world which you can't explain merely by scientific results. And part of this, if you were to look at it in terms of causation in science, you could say that it's rather like coincidence. When have you ever had things in your life which you think are like happy coincidences? You think of that? You ever had a coincidence in your life which it was almost like it was meant to be? Coincidence. For example, you met a person just at the right time when you're needing to meet this person, and suddenly out of nowhere, they turn up, you know. You ever had that sort of experience? And you think it's just luck? In science they say it's... Yeah, it happens, right? And you think that you're just... it's only a coincidence because you think it is? Or do you think there's something else happening behind the scenes? You think there's a reason for it or not? Or it just happens, it's just luck?
No,
There must be a reason. Anyone else got any other thoughts about coincidence? Think it just happens?
There's always a reason for something.
Ah, it sounds quite encouraging.
One has to find it, I think.
Yeah. Some things we live with and they look like coincidence, look like they happen by luck, but yet we accept these things, you know, as if there's some extra meaning, but maybe we haven't found it yet. If it was science, they would just dismiss these things. They say, well, you only remember the good coincidences or something like that. Maybe the person was always there, but you only noticed them when you needed them or something like that. But most people from a subjective point of view, have had coincidences in their life. And if they are the sort of person who is switched on to slightly alternative views of the world, then they start to feel that there's more to life than meets the eye. Okay, I think that's not saying too much, okay? There's more to life than meets the eye. And one thing which makes many people spiritual is trying to find meaning in these sorts of things which happen in life which go beyond what you can explain scientifically. If you were a member of a monotheistic religion, you'd say, you know, God has provided this person for me at that time. You know, they have a way to interpret it, okay? In Buddhism also, it's not that we're superstitious, but we feel that these sort of incidents are not only luck, but it's as if we have something to do with them. And if we become more adept in this, we can do more and more to control these coincidences in our favor. And when we talk about things like the law of karma, it's rather like this. We take more and more control of the things which before we might have regarded as coincidences in our life. So that those coincidences work more and more in our favor. So instead of just letting them happen to us in a passive way, we start to take control of things which from our experience we find can take control of these coincidences and help them to work in our favor. And that's what, in a nutshell, we would call law of karma. So the sorts of things we can do that we have more positive coincidences in our life, this is what we call making positive karma. We talk more about this later in the course, but what I'm doing is sort of drawing an outline of the things which we'll touch on later, to show that in fact it's not just Buddhism, it's not just, you know, a lot of weird stuff, okay, but already, even through our common sense, we already touch on many of the issues which Buddhism deals with. It's just that maybe we haven't put them together into something systematic enough to be able to describe it in a coherent way. But when we come to Buddhism, they try to put all of these things into a system to show that things don't happen because of luck, but everything happens because of a reason. It's just a question of looking deeply enough to be able to understand those reasons. And if we understand them, then we can take control of them. So, coincidence, one factor, okay, which links things together, which normally we would not think were connected.